I was editing one of my videos recently, preparing it for upload. It was video 317, which was called Realizing the Dream, and it was based on verse 479. And verse 479 was about why we should regard the world as a dream. These videos are very much about examining the assumption that we all make that we're living in a physical, external world, that we inhabit this stage for a short time in the period between birth and our death. I don't think this assumption gets challenged much. We're not even aware of this assumption, we just take it as fact. And in recent verses we've been looking at the Buddha's teaching on no birth. The world wasn't really born, and we'll come back to that shortly. But another strategy for undermining this assumption is to regard the world as a dream, which is what verse 479 was asking. Mahamati asked the Buddha, why is the world like a vision and a dream? How does it resemble the city of the Gandharvas? Why is it to be regarded as like a mirage, or like the moon reflected in water? Pray tell me. And he doesn't get a direct answer. This is one of many questions that he fires at the Buddha. So the question is, why should we regard the world as being like a dream? And I'm not sure I addressed this directly in the video. I've got the option of not posting the video, but I see these videos very much as like a stream, like water under the bridge. I respond to the verses in that particular moment and I let it go. It's not that these videos are full of content which you need to somehow assimilate. They're water under the bridge, and you can dip your toes into the stream wherever you like. So I'll just let it stand, and I'll post the video anyway. Maybe some of you will have commented on it in the meantime. So the tack that I took in the video was that of undermining our assumption that this is somehow the prime reality. We are awake now, we are not dreaming. Philosophically, it's said to be very difficult to prove this. There's no way of proving this. And I gave some arguments for undermining the status of this waking reality that we're in right now as the prime reality. But I wasn't entirely convinced. I wasn't convincing myself entirely, because I came up with a counter-argument. But why this reality is more significant, more real than our dreams. And that is because on occasion it's quite obvious that the factors of the dream have been taken from our waking reality. I did address this point in a later video, but I don't think it was very convincing. And I remember before getting into all this stuff, when I considered this question, are we awake or are we asleep right now? How can we be sure that we're not in a dream right now? Well, my answer to the question would be, we just know. We just know that we are awake right now. Although we could say the same thing in a dream, but we do know that we are awake right now. Now, I'm not sure if that's a valid argument in favour of regarding this waking state as somehow more real than the dream state. But the thing is, all of this is missing the point. Whatever consciousness is experiencing at a particular moment, that is what is real. That is what is real. Afterwards, we might take back that reality status. So this is the point. It may be that this reality that we're in right now, the so-called waking state, is more real than the dream state. But as I pointed out in the video, the mechanism by which we are aware of what we're aware of is the same. As far as we know, it's the same. It's all the result of electrical activity in the brain. In the waking state, we hypothesize an external world which is responsible for these electrical stimuli. In the dream state, we say it might just be residual electrical stimuli. It doesn't matter. It's all just electrical stimuli. We can discriminate between different types of stimuli. Doesn't really matter. It's all a construction from a scientific point of view of electrical data. And whether we subscribe to this scientific view or not, we can still say it's all just consciousness doing its thing. So the point here is really a practical one. Whether or not external reality is of the same nature as dream, that's how we should regard it for our optimal happiness. We have as much control over external reality as we have in a dream. Arguably, we might have more control over our dream reality, but in general, unless you've trained your mind in a certain way, we don't. We've got very little control over what's going on, so we shouldn't allow it to determine our happiness. That's the point. That's the point. So whether or not it is like a mirage or like a dream, we should regard it as such. There is no error in doing so. And the point is, yes, we are awake right now compared to when we're fast asleep and dreaming, but we could be more awake to the reality of our own consciousness.